Wazzup Pilipinas? Pagkain man o pagyaman, biyahe man kung saan-saan, kahit na sino pa ang iyong angkan. Wazzup Pilipinas? Wazzup Pilipinas? Halina at libutin ang ating mundo. Wazzup Pilipinas? Aming ibibigay ang inyong gusto. Wazzup Pilipinas? Ang show na ito'y para lang sa inyo. Wazzup Pilipinas?
I'm very pleased to be here. Good morning to everyone. I could see a lot of friends, all the heavy guns in IT, software, BPO, cloud, even on the supply side is here. So there's quite a party that they're throwing right now. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised coming into here. I was expecting something a little bit smaller, and now I know why Nino's been tense for the past 2 months. Just a brief overview on the digital enterprise and the journey to a digital Philippines. For those of you who have had the pleasure of attending the NASSCOM event in India sometime in February, which is the NASSCOM Leadership Summit, we could see that the market leader is more or less creating a highway going into digital India. And pretty much so, being the second in terms of market share globally. We are looking at treading the same path. So, the Philippine Software Industry Association aims to achieve leadership in market share, mind share, and innovation, both in services and in products. Traditionally, majority of the IT outsourcing shops here in the country have always leaned more towards services than products. And rightfully so. For those of you in the business, you know the price points. It's very attractive, it's very sexy, and it's nice to support that kind of growth. But apparently, the realization, and that's the reason why I wear the flag on my lapel every time, is that we really do not generate enough intellectual property to be a powerhouse in the global IT BPM sector. So the association took it upon itself to propagate this within the entire industry. Now, what is actually the global market share of the Philippines, and how do we stand against the rest of the world? This next slide is a latest study of Everest Group. In fact, this was not distributed publicly. And if you could see the Philippines, it's right over there. It's 2%. And I want everyone to remember that, 2%, because the next slide has something to do with why it's 2%. The global IT services market grew by about 9 to 10% from 2009 to 2014. And if you're going to put a good round number to it, this is about an 88 to 91 billion US dollar industry. And that was the closing of 2014. The Philippine IT services market, though, grew significantly, but apparently it's still 2%. The rest of the world is shrinking. There's only 2 countries that are benefiting from all of this, India and the Philippines. And truth be known, regardless of what anybody tells you, the reality is people still go to India before they go to the Philippines in terms of IT and software development requirements. So, for those of you who know your IT BPM history, look back 10 years ago, and that's pretty much the same story when it comes to voice-based services. So if it's going to follow, then it is imperative that we create the necessary infrastructure and environment to welcome the growth of the business, specifically for IT and software. The Philippine software industry is composed of about 400 or so software and ITO companies. 148 of them are actually members of the Software Industry Association. 80% focus on services, while 5% focuses on creating their own products. 15% actually do blended. my own software development company would like to dabble in creating products. And if you look at the chart on the right side of this slide, it's quite fascinating to see that it's not as US-centric as voice-based services. Software development will only have about 45% that is facing the US. Second is Japan, which amounts to 25% of the market that we serve. I just came from a software development expo in Tokyo this year, and you wouldn't believe the kind of attention that the Philippine booth is getting every time we participate there. Why? Japan has found a little brother in the Philippines in terms of westernizing some of the software that they've actually done. So in order for them to be a global player, they need to tap the West. And who is the best country to partner with that understands the West? It's the Philippines. We're not called little brown Americans for nothing, right? So, just to give everyone a good taste of what I experienced as PSIA president, our friends from PLDT are at the back were asking me, so is the industry growing? Hopefully these slides will tell everyone and will show everyone a good feel of how the growth is in terms of not only IT and software, not only in voice, but all segments of the industry. Yesterday, I was on stage again for the International IT BPM Summit at the Marriott. And this Friday, I will be again hosting an event with SBI. It seems that even on the events angle, the industry is actually growing and it's very vibrant. So, I talk to about 3 new investors every week trying to set up shop in the country. 3 new investors. If you're thinking, wow, that's excellent, used to be 5. Used to be 5 a couple of years back. So it's actually shrinking because technically who's who in the IT BPM space globally has already established shop here, or at least several partnerships. Now, there are 80,000 software developers that are doing export-only work for the country. Truth be known, and this is as far as PSIA is concerned, we could have doubled those numbers if the supply was actually there. So that's a challenge that the entire industry is facing. I could see some of you nodding your heads. That's true. Companies would approach the association and say, give me 100 Java, give me 50 Ruby on Rails, give me people who could swim in the cloud. That is the experience that we see on a week-to-week basis. And some of the key players that are actually here, the biggest members of PSIA would be Accenture, IBM, HP, NEC, of course, Headstrong is together with Genpact now, and a whole lot of other companies. It's been a very nice journey for the Philippine software industry. So, what does this amount to? It actually amounts to $15.5 billion US for the entire IT-enabled services space for the country, of which 2.1 billion belong to software and IT. Again, relate this to the other slide. That's only 2% of the global market. So is there room to grow? I guess anybody in his right mind would say yes. There's so much room for growth. Here's another thing, and this is again part of the Everest report that was sent out, that was sent to me just last week. There has really been no significant change in the type of work delivered from the Philippines. Applications and development, maintenance, ADM, and infrastructure outsourcing continue to dominate. Delivery of system integration and consulting services remains very limited. Now, what are the reasons why? Some of it involves the availability of talent. The other one is because of infrastructure. And I think, coming up with an event such as this is a step in the right direction. So, does it actually merit to have an event regarding the cloud? Some of the people here are saying, can't even fix our internet and we're going to have an event in the cloud. You know, is this just Rene Huergas's way of flaunting that he has a lot of money? Apparently, the data shows that yes, it holds a lot of merit to have an event such as this. You know, Cloud Readiness Index for 2014, the executive summary I picked up. The Philippines actually got 2 points higher than the previous. So there are still a lot of issues that we need to address. But apparently, experts are saying that yes, you're moving in the right direction. The entire IT-BPM space. And yesterday, the event for the IIS was closed by no less than the outgoing president, Benigno Aquino. And that basically solidifies the kind of support that contributes to the environment of growth here in the Philippines. It is indeed a favorable environment. It is indeed a favorable environment. All the logos are here. It was very difficult in the beginning to convince people to come here. So now you got huge brands looking into getting their software development and IT support from the Philippines. You've got people like GoPro. I was just having lunch with people from NASDAQ. Yes, NASDAQ is actually coming over here. And they're looking into the possibility of having their software development support here in the country. The government partnerships is very strong. In fact, the association that I'm leading right now would not stand without the support, especially of the Department of Science and Technology, the ICT office, the DTI. My position also entails that I represent the industry in terms of the Commission on Higher Education and Department of Education. So we're doing a lot of changes, not only in terms of the industry level, but even on the curriculum level. And there's this new thing that is happening in the environment, and that is the birth of startups. There's so many startups right now, even embedded in their own, in bigger organizations. They now allow their employees who have wild and crazy ideas to change the world to come up with their own small groups, which prompted the association to come up with what we call Spring.ph. Just as an informal survey, who's familiar with Spring.ph here? So those are very good numbers. Out of about 100 people, there's one. I think there's two, okay? So I think we need to promote this more, Boss Rene. Am I the only one in this room who calls him Boss Rene? And we put this up with very simple metrics attached to it. We need to come up with 50 product teams by the end of 2014, of which we already have, we're taking care of 47. Used to be about 60 plus, but a couple of washed out. And the goal is very simple. Create 10 globally recognized software products by the end of 2016 that would generate at least 1 million in annual revenue. This is our way of propagating the new way of thinking, how new organizations are being established, and how to create intellectual property and software for the Philippines. Just some of the startups that we're taking care of. I'll just spend some time discussing some of them. Cyberbank is basically an app that would allow you as a company or an organization to come up with your own amazing race easily on the fly. Cogito is already being picked up and being funded by several VCs, or venture capitalists. It's the first online process management platform. There's a very nice story attached to the next one, which is Tom Taps. Tom Taps is actually created by 3 very, very young ladies who joined an organization and could not be onboarded for a live project. Hence, the owner said, why don't you come up with your own idea? Oh, by the way, please come up with a solution to my son's problem. Because the owner of that particular software company has a special child. And he could not speak. So they created an iPad app that will allow him to give instructions. I want to eat. I want to take a bath. And the son's name is actually Tom. That's why it's called Tom Taps. A lot of very interesting things. In fact, of all the stuff that PSIA is taking care of, what excites me most is the startup community. There are so many wild ideas that are out there. They're very, very young people who are very highly skilled that could create the next disruptor that's out there. I met 3 14-year-old kids who have been offered scholarships to MIT already for something that they have done. What they've done is very simple. We face problems every day. One of the problems of graduating high school students coming from the Visayas and Mindanao is that if they want to study in LaSalle, Ateneo, or UP here in Manila, they have to fly out here, buy the application forms, fill it up, wait for them to submit it. So basically spend on transportation and lodging if they do not have relatives here in Manila. So these kids said, why don't we come up with an online application form and send it to the registrars? So now there are about 6 or 7 Metro Manila-based universities that are on a platform called Aplica. So it saves people. It's a very simple solution to a problem that we have been experiencing for so many years. And that is what's happening in the environment now. Finally, we are beginning to think in terms of digital Philippines. We've been doing a lot of very good stuff for the geographies that we're servicing. But apparently, it doesn't trickle down to our countrymen. We do not experience that. Could you imagine the kind of customer service that a person from Bank of America is receiving against somebody from, let's say, BDO? It's not even apples to oranges. It's a totally different world altogether. Why can't we have some of the things that we give to other people? The Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, Microsoft, and the Asian Institute of Management just recently launched the Manifesto for the Philippines 2016 and beyond. And what is this piece of documentation? We Filipinos, we come up with a lot of very, very nice documents. And hopefully, this hits home. This is the document that will be provided to the next President of the Philippines to support ICT growth in the country. And what are the salient points of this manifesto? Educate for a digital economy. A digital Philippines requires a digital workforce. I could see a very nice mix in the audience right now. Those that are within the ages of Rene as well as myself. And then I think there's some borderline millennials that are there. How do you know if you're a millennial or not? Not only the hair, buy yourself a new cell phone. If you're going to read the manual, or if you're going to look for a manual, then you're probably not a millennial. Right? You give your son a new cell phone, they know exactly what to do. But for folks like us, we're going to say, oh, where the hell's the manual? Number one, there are no manuals anymore. Right? You just download it from the cloud. Now, the average age, that's why the Philippines is so attractive to Japan. Japan has an average age of 44, if I'm not mistaken. Average age for the Philippines, guess what? 23.
So majority of the people in this room are all dinosaurs, me included. 23 years old. Second, this is a very nice topic. Expand access to high-speed, affordable broadband. My good friend, Mark Zuckerberg, yes, we're very good friends. Me and together with 11 million other friends that he has on Facebook. Just recently announced yesterday, he posted on his Facebook account that they just started the program to provide internet via satellite for sub-Saharan Africa, right? If I could get some of my white hackers to actually point that going to the Philippines, I will. But basically, this is a problem that we've always seen. Every time you ask the government, what's wrong with our internet? Standard answer is, internet here is for sale. If you could buy it, then you have it. Public internet, forget it. Although there are a lot of milestones and initiatives that are moving towards that direction. Another thing that we need to look into is liberalization of the telco industry. Let other people come in, make it competitive. Let's change providers on the fly. Next, leveraging ICT to enhance competitiveness in a mobile-first, cloud-first world. And this affects everything, starting from government services. You know, I had the pleasure of listening to the congressman from Valenzuela. And he basically put everything on the cloud. So you could now pay your real estate taxes on the cloud. For those of you who are on Android or iOS, that's the Valenzuela app, which apparently was done by my group. And everything else that they had online already is now being fed into that native application. So now people, and the numbers are shattering. What used to take 30 days in terms of assessment, payment, and approval will now take 2 days. What used to take 7 days in terms of approval of building permits will now take 2 hours. If everybody had a political will to go in that direction, this is going to be a very, very nice place to live in. Third is to continue to develop ICT-driven industries like BPO. I've been known in the industry to shoot a very straight arrow. So half of the industry loves me, the other half of the industry wants me dead. The problem with the changing of the guards is it usually takes government about a couple of months to a year to warm up to the idea that this is the next OFW phenomenon. In fact, $15.5 billion US dollars. OFW remittances is $25 billion US dollars. So are you wondering why the Philippines is doing so well? 67% of all ships are actually being manned by Filipinos. If we go on strike, as a nation, none of the ships would actually launch. Think about it. It's a nice time to become a Filipino. 15.5 billion. So, again, this manifesto was created in order for us, in the new government, the new guards, to realize the importance of the industry. Fifth, bringing Philippine talent home. You know, Singapore is going to say, yes, we have very good data center services. Correct? Right? Okay, newsflash. 70% of your workforce is actually coming from the Philippines. You got the population the size of Quezon City. Where do you get the talent? Let's stop a country who has no hesitation riding that plane going anywhere else. In fact, one of the things that surprised me when it comes to remittances was one of the biggest chunk of remittances comes from Alaska. Alaska. I opened my refrigerator and I even shiver in the cold. I'm a tropical animal just like anybody else who was born and raised here. Alaska. The hell are Filipinos doing in Alaska? Right? And then since you can't buy very nice clothes and gallivant with other people in Alaska because it's just too damn cold, you're probably saving those money and then remitting it back to the country afterwards. The next point is establish a favorable regulatory environment for cloud computing. I'm pinning my hopes on one person. His name is Senator Bang Aquino. Senator Bang has come up with a lot of legislation that is going to support this industry further. One of them is the startup law. That's going to exempt you from going to DTI, applying for those business permits before you even start writing your first line of code. It just doesn't make sense. You don't even know if you're going to be around 6 months from now because you're kicking around an idea and you have to go through all the regulatory red tape only to realize that you have to shut it down. Right? Again, putting up an entity here in the Philippines is very challenging. You know how efficient it is in Hong Kong? 2 hours. 2 hours to put up your own company. Here in the country, depends who you know, right? If you know Mr. Huergas, then 2 hours. Deploy cloud for disaster resilience, right? There's one thing that I could not deny. We are on the path of majority of the storms. No, I cannot escape that fact anymore. I cannot tell new investors coming in that, you know what, we don't have that problem. All you have to do is go into YouTube, Google Philippines and disasters, and you will see all the stories attached to it. So how do we mitigate this? Deploy the cloud. And then, last but not the least, support the scaling small and medium enterprises, which is more than 90% of all entities in the Philippines, by the way, and startups. So, needless to say, this is my shameless plug on the software conference event that's going to happen on the 4th and 5th. Needless to say, are we on our way to a digital Philippines? The answer is, there's a very strong mother association called IBPAC and a sector-specific association like PSIA, together with partnerships in government. I believe, including the support of companies like IPC, for instance, we are currently on our way to increasing that 2% because it's up for grabs. Anybody who could react fast, and anybody who could make a conscious effort to grab that market share, any market would be more than willing to give it to the next country who is going to lead the Philippines into the digital future. And with that, maraming salamat po.
Tutok na sa Wazzup Pilipinas, ibutin ang mundo, kainin ang gusto, alamin ng tamang daan kung paano ang umaseso. Kasama ang buong tropa ng Wazzup Pilipinas, aming ibibigay sa madla at ipapadanas. Ang saya ng Wazzup Pilipinas, tutok na sa Wazzup Pilipinas. Ang saya dito sa Pilipinas, ihahatid sa inyo ng Wazzup Pilipinas.